Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 68. Overall, great card. I mean, just as far as entertainment goes, really good stuff, and there was there's actually some good progression up the division. Not necessarily at the top end, except for maybe like Ben Rothwell. But he definitely got a lot of prospect development. There's actual movement in the bantamweight division now, which is kind of cool. Prospects did well, like Wade, Akhmadov, Burchak, Ortega, Poirier, Collier. So just great stuff. A lot of first round finishes. A lot of emphatic finishes too. Just a really fun card. No bad fights. You go to the very first fight to the main event. I have to say there was no bad fights. The ones that went to decision, fun fights. Collier Abreu, Wade versus Gallegos. That was really good actually. I think those were the only two that went to decision. Good fights. The ones that went long, like Proctor Edwards, solid fight. Ended in the third round by an emphatic finish yet again. Ortega versus Tavares, fight of the year candidate right there. I mean, it's good stuff there. Other things to note: Brian Stann, just on point this whole time. This guy, he's probably one of the best at commentary. And another thing to note is that Brian Ebersol retired after his loss to Omari Akhmadov. Picks weren't too bad. I got 7 out of 12. The ones that I missed were Dan Henderson versus Boch, Rothwell versus Mitrione, Brian Ortega versus Tavares, Wade versus Gallegos, and Quinones versus Morales. Bonuses: Poirier and Jordan got performance of the night, while Ortega versus Tavares got fight of the night. Let's get started. Dan Henderson defeated Tim Bosch via knockout, 28 seconds in the first round. Not a smart idea for Tim Bosch to just, within the first round, in the opening minutes when both are still fresh, to pretty much just lumber for, like the way he walked forward and just invited the counter right hand. I mean, Hendo's way to win was with the right hand. I mean, seriously, that's it. And the fact that Bosch just kind of rushed him like he did, and it's not atypical of Bosch or anything like that. It's actually very typical of Bosch to come in the way he did. Nonetheless, it was a bad idea. I mean, this is the worst guy to do this against at the worst time of the fight, too. When he, like I said, he's still fresh. He's not gassed or anything. Great win for Hendo, though. I mean, like, seriously, this guy is, it's a solid enough win. That's the thing. Is he going to get in title contention? Probably not. Could he beat the Tim Bosch's of the world? Yes, he's already shown that, There's really not much else to say about the fight, It's a right hand that got Bosch on one knee, and then a follow-up uppercut, some ground and pound, and that was it. Dan Henderson. The thing with Henderson at this point, I don't want to see him get like Rockhold, Machida, Romero, anyone like that. Give him Bisping. Give him the guys that are like at Bisping's level or below. Dalloway. Even guys come off losses. Philippou, Robert Whittaker. Hey, Whittaker or Henderson would be pretty cool just because, like, hey, maybe Whittaker can really move up the ladder with a win over Henderson. But it's just at this point, I don't want to see him against top-level guys because we've seen him fight like Mousasi. He lost pretty easily. Vitor beat him up. It's just, I can't help but feel that other fighters will not fall to the right hand, or will not even try and get into range of the right hand, you know. But like I said, there are certain fighters, and they're kind of action fighters too, you know, that you can give to Dan Henderson that are more towards 11 to 15. If you want to get someone coming off a win, you can also go Dan Henderson, Rafael Natal, who came out to win over Uriah Hall. Speaking of Uriah Hall, Tim Bosch, Uriah Hall works. Bosch Philippou. Well, they actually have Bosch Philippou, actually. And Dalloway. Who else can he fight? Jeez, who else can he fight at this point? Maybe, even though he's coming off some wins, Bosch Alvey would be pretty cool, just because I think it's a good step up for Alvey, and one that I think Alvey could win. Who else is there? You get the loser of like Brunson versus Jotko or something like that. You know, I think there's a replacement for that fight actually. No, there isn't. Just fighters like that, But yeah, I didn't expect Hendo to win. I think he has 2 fights left on his contract. Knowing him, he's probably seen how he just loves to fight. Most likely he's going to fight those, do those 2 fights. And like I said, at this point he's a name. So if you want to give him some name guys, Bisping's probably the best name to give him. If not, give him fun fights with that like 11 to 15 or those guys that are just, like 11 to 15 guys. I think that would actually work out for Hendo. Bosch, can I say, he's a perpetual 11, like top 11 to 15 guy at this point, Win a couple against some decent guys. He'll beat up Brad Tavares, lose to Dan Henderson. I can see him beat like a Rafael Natal. He can maybe beat Sam Alvey, Maybe he can't. He's just one of those guys that like he can beat some decent guys, and then he'll lose against good to, very good to decent guys as well. Next fight that, Ben Rothwell defeated Matt Mitrione by a front choke, 1 minute and 54 seconds of the first round. Little stat here, which makes Mitrione just very, very bad fight IQ here. So, Mitrione has fought solely his pro MMA career in the UFC. And he has never even attempted a takedown before this fight. Okay? He's more or less winning the stand-up. There's a flurry that Rothwell was doing that he got the better of, but otherwise Mitrione's winning the fight. He goes for a freaking takedown and gets front choked, which, by the way, with Mitrione, I think the front choke position is a position that he needs, that is a big weakness of his. Think of The Ultimate Fighter. How he lost. He lost by a guillotine. Lost to Brendan Shaw by an anaconda, or was it Darce Anaconda, Now he lost to Ben Rothwell, who isn't very known for submission ability, by a front choke. This is more of a pattern than anything else. It seems like he's very vulnerable there. It's in transition. I noticed that. It's always in transition. He leaves his neck out, and therefore gets front choked. It happened in The Ultimate Fighter, happened against Brendan Schaub. Now it's happened against Ben Rothwell. Something he really needs to work on. And these are the type of wins that, quite honestly, Mitrione was creeping into that top 10, like higher level top 10. He just beat Gonzaga, got on a good win streak, knocking out opponents. But it's losses like this that show that he's just not on that level. He has a liability there in grappling, and it's very apparent. As much as his striking's gotten better, his takedown defense is actually better. It's still a weakness of his. Rothwell, opportunistic guy, and those are the guys or gals, actually. Those are the fighters I hate predicting. Ben Rothwell is one of them. Miesha Tate's probably another one. Ricardo Lamas is like one of the worst to pick fights with, because like I will just find the smallest opportunity. And it's a case, like I say, of like sometimes the opponent will be like better skilled in a certain area, but these fighters are just so opportunistic and so savvy. Rothwell's just there, like on a technical level, he's not the greatest, Is he improving? Yeah, he got a front choke on Matt Mitrione, and this is a guy that's not known for submission ability. That's improvement, I would say with Rothwell, if there's a strength, I think he definitely, confidence is big with him. He's very confident now. I think that's really helping him. I think that's also helped guys like Rafael Dos Anjos, and that confidence got him the title. And you can see things like confidence with a lot of fighters being the thing that'll take him to the next level. I think Rothwell's just very aware of his skill set too at this point. He knows what he's good at. He knows what he's not good at, and he can utilize it to the best of his ability. With that said, man, anyone that Rothwell fights and moving forward, if he keeps moving up the ladder, it's one of those things where I don't think I'll pick him to win. And he very well could. Like for example, I think he should probably get he's up there. He just beat Overeem. Now he beat Mitrione, and he finished both in the first round. So he needs a big step up in competition, even though he's lost to Cain Velasquez. You can give him a Junior Dos Santos, because both of them are coming off wins. Stipe, Arlovsky, that'd be good. Or the winner of Nelson versus Barnett. And like I said, I would not pick... I'd pick Rothwell over Nelson, but quite honestly, those others that I named, I honestly wouldn't pick Rothwell. But the problem is, it's just he can find ways to win. Mitrione, he should probably get the loser of Mir versus Duffy. Another fighter coming off a loss, Travis Brown, he's coming off a loss. Or Mitrione versus Mark Hunt. So there are good, fun fights for Mitrione that he could win. But yeah, just... I guess he just has he has one liability, and this was just not smart. It was just a very, very not smart idea for Mitrione to pretty much attempt his first takedown on Ben Rothwell in a fight that he is more or less winning. Not smart at all. I think he knew it too. Next fight, that Dustin Poirier defeated Yancy Medeiros by TKO, 2 minutes and 38 seconds in the first round. Man, does Poirier look great at lightweight? He has some power in the division. He's probably not as drained. I bet you his chin's probably better. He's always been a resilient guy, but it's just not cutting as much weight, not being as depleted. It helped him a lot, and like I said, he has some power in this division. Man, did he just beat up Medeiros? I like that Poirier also switches stances too. He dropped him in an orthodox stance, and he also dropped him in a southpaw stance too. Medeiros is tough, man. I thought he was, when he got dropped the second time, I thought that was it, because the way he dropped, he was out on his feet. He actually got finished, but standing, but it was a good stoppage nonetheless. You still gotta treat Poirier kind of like, you still gotta treat him like a prospect. He's still pretty young, improving, looks great in the division. I think step up in competition is appropriate for him. Give him the winner of Bobby Green versus Al Iaquinta. I think that'll be good. I know Kevin Lee's fighting someone. I totally forgot who it is. Maybe if I want to give him like the winner of that fight, I totally forgot who it is. That'd be cool. If you don't want to give him someone too high up, John Tuck, Dustin Poirier wouldn't actually be too bad either. Medeiros, I'm still pretty high on the guy, but he has some defensive liabilities. Did he lose by... He lost... He was getting outstruck by Jim Miller, and then, he got submitted. But I think he was dropped, or at least wobbled against him. Yeah, he has some defensive liabilities, though. He's a good prospect. Not a blue-chip prospect, but he is improving. One of the first times that he got hit, he was off balance. He did something, and he was just you can see his legs. He's totally off balance, and then he got dropped or hit hard. I forgot. I distinctly remember that. So he still needs a lot of work. He should fight more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. Next fight after that, Brian Ortega defeated Thiago Tavares by TKO in the third round. Like I said, Fight of the Year candidate, man. Good stuff here. Early on, it looked like Tavares was probably the better striker than Ortega. One thing about Tavares, I even said this in the predictions, his chin isn't very good. I thought he was the better positional grappler and the better wrestler, though, and it kind of showed in this fight. Ortega was just utilizing a great amount of offense from his back, elbows, up kicks, and submission attempts. And submission attempts that led to sweeps. Or that, that armbar led to a sweep to mount. But Tavares was doing really well. He was taking the fight to the ground. He was unloading some ground and pound, but getting hit back on the ground. But I felt that, and I thought some rounds were pretty close. I would even argue that maybe Tavares got the rounds 1 and 2, and had he survived 3, he may have actually won the fight. But yeah, Ortega, good prospect, T-City, very good on the ground. His striking needs some work, Tavares is the type of guy where, because some of the strikes that actually really got Tavares, the Superman punch, the spinning back elbow, if they connect on a guy like Tavares, whose chin isn't that great, it'll hurt him, that's the thing. And that's the thing with Tavares, because he doesn't have a good chin. A lot of strikes, even from guys who aren't primary strikers, can still hurt him. But yeah, I don't know if I can really call Brian Ortega a blue chip prospect. He's definitely very good, constantly improving. And yeah, just had a really fun fight. Turned it on in that third round and got that TKO. Both these guys, just more lower to mid-tier guys of the division for both. Great, fun fight though. Next fight after that, Anthony Burchak defeated Joe Soto by knockout, 1 minute and 37 seconds in the first round. I'm going to gloat a little here because I know coming into the predictions that picking Burchak would get a lot of criticism. And what I said kind of came true, so that's why I'm kind of gloating here. One thing about Burchak, super aggressive. One thing I said during the predictions, he will be able to, he's a guy that will be able to utilize offense. It's something along the lines of being able to utilize offense better than Soto. And Soto does have a tendency to allow his opponent to dictate where the fight takes place or to get off first. That's what happened here. Against a super aggressive guy like Burchak, you can't wait for Burchak to attack. He's just going to attack. And attack, and attack, and attack. And I also did feel that Soto was being... I knew coming in that he would be overvalued a bit because he was a former Bellator champion. But also because he looked really good against TJ Dillashaw. And while there's some merit to take from that, and also that Burchak lost to Ian Entwistle as well before this by heel hook. But like I said, Burchak still managed to just be the more aggressive guy, dictate where the fight takes place. He managed to get off first. Got like a knee, then a right hand that dropped Soto, and then he just followed him up against the cage and just beat him up until he knocked him out cold. I mean, this was emphatic knockout too. Just, Soto went face first into the ground. I think Burchak's a good prospect in the division, despite his loss to Entwistle. And it's just one of those things. Entwistle is just one of those guys where he could win against a lot of guys just because he has that leg lock game, or else he'll lose to your like Dan Hookers and whatnot. But yeah, nonetheless, great win for Burchak. Just give him some more like mid-level. They fight at bantamweight, right? Yeah, they fight at bantamweight. Just give him some more mid-level guys of the division. Same with Soto. I think there's definitely, Burchak's a guy. Bantamweight has some good prospects. Aljamain Sterling, Thomas Almeida. I am missing another one too. Holdsworth, he's another good prospect. I don't know if I'd put Burchak in the level of those guys, but he's still a very good prospect who can definitely move up the division. So yeah, just more mid-level guys for both of them. Next fight after that, Francisco Rivera defeated Alex Caceres by knockout 21 seconds in the first round. So Caceres has three losses in a row now to Faber, Kanehara, and Rivera. Two of them he got finished. Kanehara, he just looked really bad. I said it in the predictions. I'll say it now. I'll say it moving forward. I think the Caceres has a 10-8 record now, 11-8 record now, something like that. The guy is just not fundamentally sound. He's going to remain green throughout his whole MMA career. It's just the way he fights. He just doesn't have the basics down, And defense, he has some defensive liabilities, especially standing. This is a guy that does get wobbled. He does get dropped. And against a guy like Rivera, who's really just putting everything together, has some heavy hands, and is just more fundamentally sound with his boxing and his striking and his overall MMA game. Rivera's just bound to land clean on Caceres, and that's what happened. Rivera, good fighter, very good fighter. I'd say top 10. I think he is top 10, right? Had the fight with Faber gone longer, there's a good chance that Rivera could have won. But with that said, I would probably go with Rivera versus Sterling, or he can get the winner of Almeida versus Pickett, or the winner of Wineland versus Caraway. Caceres just needs to fight more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. I don't know about him these days. I think I think there was a time, even in the loss to Faber, where top 10 potential was there, for sure. Especially after he beat like Sergio Pettis. And even with Sergio Pettis, he has a lot of liabilities too. Like we found out, he has a lot of liabilities. At this point, unless he can just somehow just totally fix his fundamentals, I think he's just going to be a mid-level bantamweight moving forward. I can't see him like reaching. There's too many liabilities, even on the ground. I mean, he gets into scrambles. He's a really good scrambler, but he can lose position on the ground too, you know, and end up on his back. So, yeah, he just needs to fight more lower level guys in the division. Okay, on to prelims. Sean Jordan defeated Derek Lewis 48 seconds into the second round. I am very glad that Sean Jordan decided to mainly wrestle Derek Lewis. There was a few instances in this fight where they were just kind of brawling, and it's like it was a case of who would go down first. And quite honestly, I think if that was the case, Jordan would probably go down first before Lewis. That's how I see it. Yeah, you know, he managed to take him down in the first round. Got a freaking hook kick knockdown on Derek Lewis. That was cool. Coolest thing. Hook kick knockdown. It's ground and pound. Mount. More ground and pound. Done. Great stuff for Jordan. Definitely a guy that just kind of more or less like what you see is what you're going to get from him at this point, you know. He can wrestle. He can do a little bit of everything. You know, he can strike. He has heavy hands. He's athletic. He can kick too. He can wrestle. He will actively pass the guard to dominant positions. And he's just been there, you know. He's on a win streak. Tough to say who should get next because he always like his chin is still a liability. Like this is a guy who lost to Mitrione, he lost to Gonzaga, and he got knocked out by those guys. Lost to Congo and a not fun fight. So it's tough to say. I don't really see like top 10 potential for him or anything like that, but definitely a solid 11 to 15 type guy. So maybe get like an Alexei Olenek next. That's a really good test. Olenek it's a great test for a lot of fighters. Someone like that, you know. Who else? Maybe Rochelle, you know. That wouldn't be too bad. With Lewis, I mean, just more lower to mid-tier heavyweights for him. He's still a fun fighter. He's something of an action fighter. He's a guy that I don't know if he'll ever pick up the ground game. He's big. He's strong. He can hit hard. He has devastating ground and pound, though. Devastating power. Definitely good enough to keep in the UFC. But just more lower level guys in the division for him. Next fight after that, Omar Akmadad defeated Ryan Ebersol by injury. Pretty much after the first round. And Ebersol retired after this fight. It's probably a good idea for him. I don't think he's ever been like knocked out cold, if I'm not mistaken. And seeing the way he takes damage and whatnot, and the guys he's fighting, it's gonna happen if he keeps fighting. The guy has just too much wear and tear on his body. He knows it too. I mean, yeah, this is not the first time that his leg got busted up. I mean, like, it's not like Rick Story, you know? Dude, his leg was getting messed up. Not to the point where it's injured like this, but yeah, you know. Fighters are just going to aim for that leg against Ebersol, so good on him to retire. He has a lot of experience. He trains out of Tiger Muay Thai, you know. I don't know if he's an instructor or coach or whatnot. He probably is. Definitely a guy that should probably get into teaching. If he's not doing that already. He probably, you know what, he's probably doing it already. You know, he can still be in the fight game and other aspects of the fight game. Akhmadov, though, not a blue chip prospect. You know, solid enough fighter. He's big for the weight class. He hits hard. A little more patient in this fight. He can wrestle offensively. His takedown defense isn't the greatest, though, but definitely not a bad fighter. Definitely a very solid fighter. Still needs work on his technical game and his pacing, but, you know, he's a guy that I can see, especially against the mid-level. I wouldn't say he's like the rank and file, per se. You know, I think he actually beat a good amount of mid-level talent in welterweight, so I would actually just give him more mid-level guys of the division. Next fight after that, Chris Wade defeated Christos Giagos by unanimous decision. After this fight, man, the thing, you know, I'm thinking is, both these guys are good prospects. I mean, there's just, you know, I think that Giagos was the more dynamic fighter, whereas Wade was a more fundamentally sound fighter, and he's a better wrestler and grappler. One thing I've seen about Wade before is that he'll clinch against the cage a lot. In this fight, you know, he was opting to strike a little more. And Giagos, when he was boxing, one thing is that, like, he'd throw a right hand and then clinch, and it's because all his weight transfer was going forward. That's the thing with his boxing. But, you know, Giagos, he's, by being so explosive and whatnot, and just so dynamic, I think he will get tired. I noticed he was definitely the more tired fighter, whereas Wade was just like, dude, Wade can probably go another like 2-3 rounds. You know, I liked some of the takedowns that Wade got on Giagos. Really good, just really well timed stuff. And there's some variety too. He'll go for the legs. He went for the trip takedown, the throw. And he got the whizzer, you know, and the throw there. He has a lot of variety. His stand-up is improving, but it still needs some work. I was watching this with a friend, and he's like, yeah, Wade needs a jab. Like, seriously. He needs a jab, but his stand-up looked improved. There was a lot to like out of Chris Wade here. He probably could have thrown more ground and pound. I don't really know if I would consider Wade a potent finisher. And if he's a non-finisher, then that can work against Wade. Hopefully he just works. But the thing is, he's still a prospect. You know, I don't know if he's going to be a grinder for life or not. It's tough to say. Yes, like I said, I like what I see from the guy. He has good wrestling. He can scramble well. His striking's good. He kind of needs to know what type of fighter he wants to be. Does he want to be a striker? Should he focus on striking more? Should he focus on his wrestling and grappling more? That's one of his problems here. Against another solid prospect who's more fundamentally sound. You know, the fundamentally sound guy won. Same with like Rivera Caceres in a sense. You know, more dynamic guy versus fundamentally sound guy. Fundamentally sound guy wins. Carlos Esparza versus Rose Namajunas. Another good example there too. Nonetheless, I liked what I saw out of both these guys. Fun fight. Just more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. Very curious to see. You know, I kind of thought that Wade would just kind of make the fight more ugly. You know, just clinch a lot more, but he didn't really do that. You know, he showed some good variety everywhere. You know, he would strike a little more here, wrestled well, and got dominant positions and whatnot. But yeah, you know, watch out for both these guys. Good prospects. Let's try out that. Joe Proctor defeated Justin Edwards by guillotine with 2 seconds left in the final round, which is the third round. Emphatic finish. The way that Edwards went out and went limp, emphatic. You know, that is, he was face first and just out. Fun fight. You know, it was. You know, you can definitely tell their skill level. Like, they're not the best strikers, but they went at it. You know, excuse me. But, I would say that Edwards seemed to have been, like, the better wrestler here. I thought Proctor was, like, the better striker. You know, like, Edwards, when Proctor was, like, moving around a lot, he was doing really well. So Edwards would just kind of bull rush to get Proctor up against a cage. I don't know if Edwards has actually been winning lately. I think he's actually been losing a lot lately. I can't recall if he's won. Proctor, you know, I would say, I don't know what, like, he's not a prospect really. He's just like kind of like a solid mid-level fighter, you know. He can do a little bit of everything. But he's not like a great striker. He's not a great jiu-jitsu or ground guy. He's not a great wrestler. He has mildly fun fights though, you know. He doesn't have boring fights, so he definitely has a role in the UFC. He can beat the like lower level guys, but like once he reaches like just even like the mid level, he seems to fall. You know, he can't seem to even beat that level. But you know, for him, I don't know if Justin Edwards is gonna stay in the UFC after this, but for him, Proctor, just more lower to mid level guys in the division. And the fight past prelims, Jake Collier defeated Ricardo Abreu by split decision. I like what I see from Collier, just in the sense that he's really diverse in his striking. He'll aim for the body, he'll aim for the legs, he does strike in combination, he can wrestle. He's actually a decent prospect, you know. Had a good, solid fight against Abreu. Abreu was countering at times. Managed to get Collier down twice, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 times. It was a fun fight. You know, Bray's actually, he's a prospect himself. He only has like, this was his 6th fight. You know? He'll improve. And I think that, I don't even know if he's gone 3 rounds up until this point. And like I said, fun fight. Not much to complain about. I'd give Collier the win here. I can see the argument for Abreu, but otherwise, it's a good fight, you know. Solid. Wouldn't call these guys blue chip prospects by any means, but, you know, once they start to actually put everything together, I kind of, you know, maybe they have like top 11 to 15 potential. And they should probably just both get more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. And finally, Jose Quinones defeated Leonardo Morales by rear naked choke, 2 minutes and 34 seconds in the first round. Morales is most likely going to get cut after this. This is 2 losses in a row now. And he just needs to work on his ground game. I mean, even in his last fight, he got taken down. He got his back taken. You know, he managed to get out of it. But at this point, Morales is kind of like a Muay Thai guy who does MMA. You know, takedown defense is improving, but you know, Quinones isn't some NCAA guy. He's not a high school wrestler even, to my knowledge. You know, and he's able to take down Morales. What do you think other guys are going to be able to do to Morales? You know? Morales does have good striking. He has really good kicks, especially into that leg and body. But otherwise, he needs way more seasoning. You know, so it might actually be better for him to be outside the UFC. Quinones, I mean, he can beat the Ultimate Fighter Latin America guys, but I don't know if he beats guys higher than that. I'm not terribly impressed with his game. You know, his striking's alright. Has some defensive liabilities there. He can grapple, you know. But, you know, moving forward, there's going to have stronger grapplers moving forward for him. So, I'd probably give him some more Ultimate Fighter Latin America guys. Otherwise, I think he'd lose to most guys in the UFC at this point. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 68. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.